I learned just a short time ago today that at last night's Pierce County Charter Review Commission meeting, which I watched about the first hour and a half of that online, they did in fact pass amendment number 1, C1 as it's known, and that means it's going to go to voters. The 21-member Charter Review Commission made that decision Monday night. That is the amendment to make the elected office of the sheriff an appointed position. So instead of voters getting to decide who they want to be their sheriff in Pierce County, it will be up to the Pierce County executive to make that decision. But they added some language to this before it was ultimately passed. And now, instead of just saying, okay, C1 is an amendment that's going to make this an appointed rather than elected position, we're going to end Sheriff Keith Swank's term on January 1, 2027. That is now what the amendment says. So he's going to be out by January 1 if voters ultimately approve this charter amendment. That was a surprise to me. I've been following this story for weeks. We've been talking about it here on our podcast multiple times over the last few weeks. This last minute decision was a surprise. I got a text message today from Commissioner Holly Rogie. She's one of the minority conservative members on the commission, alerting me to the change. And she sent me this statement today. I'll put this up for you. She said, I'm deeply disappointed in the commissioners who voted to override the will of the people by inserting an amendment into C1 that prematurely ends the sheriff's term in January 2027, January 1st. This amendment demonstrates this isn't about the office of the sheriff. It is a calculated attempt to remove our duly elected Sheriff Swank, and that is wrong. I'm going to be speaking with Sheriff Swank a little bit later today, and we'll share more of that conversation in tomorrow's episode of Washington in Focus Daily. Again, it was a surprise to me that not only are they putting this amendment to voters, but adding a little clause in the amendment that says, oh, by the way, voters, if you approve this, Sheriff Swank is out first of the year. Again, I'm going to be very curious to see what he has to say about this in our conversation a little later today, and I'll share that with you in tomorrow's episode.